Yo, what's going on, everybody? Happy New Year and welcome back to the Full Nerd Academia podcast. I am your host, Master D Maito, joined as always by the wonderful, the amazing, the
Daddy.
Bankai.
oh, Bankai merch. So hit the wrong button there for a second.
Uh, I had a dope intro. I let it go. But Happy New Year to you guys. Maito, Happy New Year to you. I'm going to start off with what do you have planned for your new year? Your new me.
Well, one thing for sure, if you guys haven't noticed, I've been doing a lot of editing with the background and layouts and stuff on here. So I'm one of my New Year's resolutions is to stream more for one, and for two to like get better at this. So yeah, this is I feel like it's a good start up to the new year. Coming soon, we'll hopefully be getting some more logos, like a better logo done, and maybe some music done. So it's a little bit of a process, but I mean, I think coming soon it'll definitely be better. What about you, man? What's your New Year's resolution this year? Or what are some of
Definitely,
your resolutions?
definitely want to stream more as well. We have fun doing it, so why not, right? Definitely want to stream more. I want to start reading some more books, comic books, regular books. Need to definitely start reading some more. And I got to get back in shape. I'm not out of shape, but I'm out of shape. If that makes sense. So I'm trying to cut back on like
Yeah,
late night eating.
Just out of shape.
Yeah,
For real, just out of shape. So
I'm cutting back on the late night eats. Because that's what started my my dad pouch. So yeah, that's like my biggest ones right now, and I'm excited to start this new year, 2024. Here we go, first one.
man, I feel you there. I feel you there. But Chad, so as you guys probably saw from the title, we're just going to be catching up a little bit. There's not going to be a whole lot that we're going to dive into too much because there is a lot that we got towards the end of last year in terms of like geek stuff. You know, we had What If. We're going to talk about that in a future episode. There's a little bit of news here and there, not a whole lot of like full on like coverage of news. There's some rumors. There's some kind of cool stuff that we'd like to talk about a little bit. But then the big meat of this episode, the main course of this episode is going to be us building back up the MCU from when we tore it down last podcast. Your lovely friend T joined us. We kind of went through and talked about the stuff that we didn't like necessarily about this recent, not even the recent phase, but it was more like this whole recent like post Endgame MCU. So talk about all the stuff we didn't like and the things that we felt like made it worse, and what we feel like we could do to have fixed that, or what we would have done in Phase 4 to kind of kick off the next 10 years of the MCU. But I don't have very many visuals today, guys. So I mean, if you're looking for this to be a very visual podcast today, it's not going to be super visual. So just tab out. You can like listen to us and stuff. But for the most part, you and I were talking about something on Instagram that I saw, and it was like an idea that somebody floated. So it's not even really a rumor, but I guess in an interview, Alan Richson, most famously known for playing Jack Reacher in the current Reacher series on Prime Video, as well as playing Hawk from Titans on HBO Max, now Max. He was also in Blue Mountain State. He played, he was the voice and he did the mocap for Raph in the 2 live-action Michael Bay TMNT movies. So he's somewhat of a household name by this point. And if you've never seen this guy, he is freaking ginormous. He is huge. 6'3", possibly, maybe 6'2", I don't know. He's huge. And then on top of that, he is jacked. He is like, he could probably eat me for dinner and then have, Bankai Merc here for dessert. The man is big. Uh, but he was talking in an interview. I can't remember who it was with. It might have been Variety. But basically, he was saying like, hey, if I were to ever get back into the DCU, I would love to play Batman. And that got fans aflutter. Everybody was just like, "Yo, this guy would be an awesome Batman." And I personally, I think he could be, mainly because he has that physicality. At the same time, though, he might be a little too big for Batman, and he might be a little too old at this point to play Batman, especially when they're trying to go for a little bit of a younger Batman, somewhere in his like late 20s, early 30s, who's going to be having a child. Now, obviously, he doesn't look old, but somebody in their later years, especially having to be into a role that's going to possibly take the next 10 years of their life, have to start thinking about stuff like that. So, what are your thoughts, really quick, on him as Batman before we go into the next part of this?
My personal opinion, I don't like it. I'd rather him be. Well, I'm not gonna talk about that part because we're gonna talk about that too, right?
Mm-hmm.
The other one, yeah, okay. So, I don't like him as Batman. I didn't like him as Hawk either. He was kind of lame to me. He was very boring. Watching him act was very, very boring. So him being Batman, I can't see it. He got the chin. That's about it. If they were to do like that new 52 version of Batman.
Yeah.
But outside of that, yeah, he's too like I wouldn't even say he's too jacked for Batman. It's just him. Like his acting to me is not that great. But apparently he's killing Reacher. Everybody's always talking about Reacher.
He is really great in Reacher. Well, I'm trying to tell you what the way I've heard it described, and I agree with this 100%. Reacher is basically Batman without the suit, who kills and uses guns. So basically, like Punisher. So he is so dope in Reacher. Like I know it's a scene in a trailer right now for season 2, but this was literally like episode 1 of season 2. He peeped that somebody was tailing him and his colleague. And so what he did to kind of confront them is he went to their car. He literally like curb stomped the freaking front of it and set the airbag off.
That's hilarious.
Right. Like he kicked it so hard, he set the airbag off and like obviously hit the person in the face with the airbag, and then proceeded to pull him out of the car and beat the ever living crap out of him. Like the man is intense. and like I said, he could back it up too because like he is so big.
Yeah. I'm definitely going to watch that. I told myself every time you talk about it, I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna watch it, and I still haven't watched it. So tonight, I'm actually gonna start watching. I've been watching so much other things. I got back into Black Clover again.
Okay.
And I think the other one I've been watching is like The Hero with the Shield or something like that. It's on
Oh, the
Hulu.
Rising of Shield Hero.
Yes, I've been watching
Shield
that.
Hero is so good. I haven't finished season 2, but season 1 was so awesome.
Yeah, I'm going. Awesome. I have to go. So I started at season 2 and I watched like 2 episodes. I'm like, all right, I need to go backwards. I need to go back to watch season 1 again so I can catch up again. So I know I watched it before because I was on season 2 and I was like, there's no way I'm on season 2. I don't remember watching this. I've watched it. I just don't remember watching it.
Yeah, man, it's good. It's really good. I dug it quite a bit. It took a long time for season 2 to come out, but I think this because like this is an all original. If I'm not mistaken, I want to say this is an all original anime. I don't think this has a manga. I could be wrong. It probably does. If I look it up, I'm sure I'm probably going to be wrong. But I felt like this was like a Crunchyroll original. But either way, like it took them a while to get season 2 out. Mm-hmm. I think a lot of that has to do with the pandemic, because season 1 I think came out, it was 2019 or 2020, so it was a while for it to come out. But yeah, either way, like it's totally worth it. It's so good.
Yeah, and I went back to start watching Jujutsu Kaisen again too because I heard like it got really good. So I'm like, damn, I gotta catch up.
If anybody's on TikTok or even on Instagram, like that's a huge like meme and it's a huge reel right now, like a huge thing right now with Mahito. So like, if you know, you know. I haven't caught up with Jujutsu Kaisen, but I know who the character is. And then after seeing like after seeing what happened, someone was like, "Damn, okay, I might have to get back into Jujutsu Kaisen then because I want to see what happens to this man."
Me
So,
too.
uh, but anyways, tangent aside, let's get back on track here. Talking about Alan Richardson. So you're of the mind that you don't want him to play
Mm-mm.
Batman. I'm of the mind that like I wouldn't mind seeing him play Batman. I don't think he's the perfect casting for it, but I could definitely see it. But we saw something on Instagram the other day uh, that was just like, oh, okay, yeah, I could totally see this. More than he was Hawk, I could totally see him as Wildcat, as Ted Grant Wildcat. That makes perfect sense. Because
I agree.
Wildcat, if you guys don't know, he's an older character. He's already older. I believe he's in his mid to late 40s, if I'm not mistaken. Wildcat, I think in the comics, he's later 50s, early 60s, stuff like that. So either way, even if this actor were to get older in the role, it would only serve him better. But Wildcat's already older. He has no superpowers, but he is like one of the more well-respected heroes in the hero community in DC because he literally he dresses up as a black cat costume and just beats the ever living shit out of people as a hero because like he is a strong fighter. He's a mixed martial artist. You know he used to be a boxer, back before he became a superhero and stuff like that. And he's trained many street level like heroes in the DC universe, including Black
Canary,
Canary, I believe Green Arrow, most of
Batman.
the Arrow family, if I'm not mistaken, Batman for a little while. Just any sort of street level hero, he's kind of helped bring them up a little bit. So he's always been like the kind of trainer. And this guy, with his physique, uh, I could totally see it. I could definitely see him playing Wildcat,
Wildcat.
and especially the way he was, especially the way he fights, how he be handling people, dude. Oh my god, I could totally see it.
Yeah, agreed. That part I definitely agree with. He has the pause. He has the body size. Um, yeah, and like you said, he beats like the way he beats up people. Like even the way he was beating up people in Titans. I was like, damn, he's brutal. Like he reminds me of a Jason Todd. But yeah, so to me,
Which,
he's
by the way,
perfect.
if he was a little bit younger and a little bit smaller, I could see him playing Red Hood too.
Same. Like well, you haven't got a chance to play it yet because we're not going to talk about that part. Um, Gotham Knights. Like if you see Jason Todd in there, like Jason Todd is like he's literally a brute. Like he looks like a brute. And when I
Yeah,
see that, it reminds me of what's his name? Pritchard.
Alan Richardson.
Yeah, that guy. I said Pritchard.
Like that's a word or a name.
Yeah, no, it is. It's a basketball player. It's a basketball player for the Celtics. But yeah, like that's if you look at him and you look at Allen, you would say, yeah, no, he really reminds me of that, like that big brute. He reminds me of a Jason Todd. But yeah, so him being Wildcat would be perfect because it would just fit him. It perfectly fits him. It's a lesser known character that he can make popular. Yeah, he tried like same
Yeah,
thing he tried to do with Dove. I mean Hawk, but
yeah,
to me he did a
definitely.
terrible job. Honestly, that was my opinion.
I think the thing with that was just that the writing in that show wasn't the greatest. I mean,
It wasn't. It was literally meant for certain characters to bring a real coming to them. Beast Boy, Raven, of course, anybody's gonna fall in line with Dick Grayson because he's just Nightwing and he's part of the Bat family
right.
and everybody loves Nightwing. If you don't like Nightwing, you have a real problem. Um, and Starfire, like that was literally like the main focus of the group. Everybody else
Yeah,
was just add-ons.
no, I agree. I agree because even I remember when this because I want to say that Hawk and Dove were like episode 2 of season 1, and I was just like Hawk and Dove. Who cares about these guys? Don't get me wrong. The episode actually ended up being pretty good. Um, because I remember first season it was like every other episode, all the ones that didn't have to do directly with Dick Grayson seemed to be a really good episode. So it was like that was early on, and it was like early writing and stuff like that. So like I could kind of see I can kind of give him a pass for like, yeah, this was kind of writing, kind of
Dove
sucked.
was good.
Whatever.
Hawk sucked.
Yeah. Again, I would.
You
I
know
would.
why Dove was good.
I would agree with you. But
Mommy.
anyway, but anyways, so that's just our thoughts on Alan Richardson. If you were to play anybody in the DC universe, like the film universe, I feel like he would be better off as Wildcat versus Batman. I have my pick for Batman, but it's all whether or not they plan on going with this person, or if they
I have my
plan on
pick,
going
too.
with either somebody somebody more unknown or even somebody younger. I don't know, but my pick for Batman, hands down, is Jensen Ackles, because he
Yeah.
he plays his voice in the new Tomorrowverse, the animated movies for DC, but like he's got an affinity for the character. He's got the look down.
Mhm.
Honestly, like he's like, I feel like he is like the perfect, the perfect specimen to play Batman. But
Shut up, bitch.
but either way, like I feel like he, just as an actor in general, I feel like he would take it a step above. I mean, he is great and almost everything that he's done. A lot of his stuff is like smaller screen, obviously, because it's all made for TV. But I don't know. I feel like even the way he does like the voice, I feel like he brings a certain gravitas towards the Batman role. So he played Jason Todd, in Under the Red Hood, the first, and the like updated version of it, but like that first movie that Jason Todd was in. So I think he would be perfect. I think he'd be absolutely perfect. But
Yeah, I agree. He's definitely number 2 for me. Number 1, a lot of people don't like my choice. I think they should just keep Robert Pattinson as Batman. In the Tomorrowverse, not tomorrow, in the DCU. He's not a bad Batman. He's not a bad Bruce Wayne.
it's not that he won't be Batman, because he's still going to be Batman, but they're going to be completely separate movies.
No, I know they're separate. No, that I do know. I'm just saying, like, I think they should make him Batman in the DCU, like in the actual DCU for James Gunn's DCU. That's what I mean. Like, that should be number 1, because he's already Batman. Why not just keep him as Batman? He's young. I think he's an awesome Batman. A lot of people are gonna argue with me about it. They think he's not that good of an actor just because he played in Twilight. But Robert Pattinson's, yeah,
he's really good.
Yeah, he was a
Might
really
not
good
be
Batman.
as slept on anymore, but he's really good.
No, people still don't like him as Batman. Like I know, like
I mean, I'm talking about even beyond Batman.
Beyond Batman. Oh yeah.
I don't think he's as slept on as he was like when he was doing Twilight. But anything that he's in now, like anything, even like Batman aside, like I liked his Batman. I loved that movie. But Batman aside, like things that he's been in, he's like the best part of the movie. And like the only reason he did Twilight was because he was young, he could do it, and he was like, I need to get paid, so he took it.
And he said it. He said he's literally doing it to audition for Batman one day too. So he had to get the brute down. But that's my number 1 pick. But Jensen Ackles, yes, like I have a 1A 1B. I'm sorry, but like that would be he would be 1B. Robert would be 1A, or Pattinson, I should say, would be 1A, and then Ackles would be, or Batcles. That's funny. Batcles. He would be 1B.
I like that, Backles. Yeah, okay. But yeah, that's
If you hear that, I made it up first.
yeah. Let's start campaigning now. We're gonna start it on Twitter. Backles, Jensen Backles
Backles.
for Batman. But all right. The only other thing I really wanted to talk about, there's been a lot of rumors lately. Have you been up to date on these rumors for the Fantastic Four? I know you're not a Fantastic Four fan, but are you up to date on some of these rumors that have been flying around?
The last thing I heard was who they're still trying to get to play. Well, I think all right. So from what I heard, I think they said they were keeping who's suit. What's her name? Oh my god, I can't think of her name now. She was the original Sue Storm.
Jessica Alba?
Yeah, but I knew that was a lie, so I was like,
No.
yeah, I'm ignoring
No,
this.
yeah, no,
No way.
that's not it. Her name is Vanessa Kirby. I believe that they haven't
Yes.
announced her fully, but they said that like she's been the one in the long running for Susan Storm. Before that, they were trying to get Margot Robbie. I feel like that pulls you a little too much out of it. You know what I mean?
I'm trying to remember what Vanessa Kirby played in.
Crap.
I got it right here in front of me. Napoleon. She's in the Fast and the Furious. Mission Impossible, the new one.
Yeah, she's a Mission Impossible.
Oh, all right. Looking at her face, I remember her. I just don't. Yeah, I remember her.
But she's supposed to be playing Sue Storm. Supposedly, the guy who played Eddie from the last season of Stranger Things, he's playing Johnny Storm. His name escapes me now. I had it all in my head, and like now all of a sudden, I don't remember his name.
Joseph Quinn.
Yes, thank you, Joseph Quinn. And then the person that they have lined up to play the Thing, I do not remember who he is. I don't remember what his name is. But either way, they were also supposedly, the big story was that they were eyeing and after Pedro Pascal to play Reed Richards, which, like, yes and also no. I think the only reason they want to go for him is because he has huge star power right now, and he basically is like America's dad right now. You know, with playing, playing the Mandalorian and being a dad to Grogu, and then now, he's playing
Dad in The Last
Joel,
of Us.
Yeah, Joel in The Last of Us, basically being a father to Ellie. Like, I think that's the reason why they would be going for him, because again, star power and because he's like America's dad right now. But again, this is one of those castings where he just like kind of pulls me out of it. And then at the same time, I think I've heard this thought before, and I want to get your idea on this. I've heard that supposedly, like, Marvel purposely leaks information for their casting, mainly to drum up like hype, and then also to kind of gauge people's reactions to their quote unquote thoughts, even though they might not be true. They try to kind of test the waters and see like what are people thinking. Do these people think that this would be a good idea, type of thing. What do you think of that? Do you think that's something that is true or something that could happen?
Honestly, marketing wise, I think that shit is smart. And the reason why I say that is because it's marketing. If you're giving people some kind of hype, right? It gives you like, all right, would this be a good cast, right? So if for instance, I like everybody petitioned Ben Affleck for being Batman, right? Or because I mean that petitions happen. When people want to see who they want to see, like they see who they see for that character. So like it's a great idea because then you get that sense of feels like, all right, I made a great choice for the role that I'm trying to get this person to play.
Right.
So it, like, to me, like I said, great idea, but it also have a negative effect as well. If they don't like the person, then they're like, damn, all right, maybe I made a bad choice. Now I got to try to find a way to. I was about to do the.
Put it all together.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was starting to say too. But it has its negatives and positives. Like the negative would definitely be like, all right, well, maybe if we make the wrong choice, who can we try to get to play this role, and what would make sense for us, salary wise, to fit what we're looking for. So yeah, sometimes like we want like that better person, but we also as fans have to understand that like there's money that comes into play too. So we
Right.
can't always get what we want. So we got to
Oh, that
try
stuff is
to,
true.
yeah, we got to try to accept what we have at that moment. Maybe we'll like it. To me, still, I think Flash was a terrible pick, but we're not going to talk about that. That's way out there. We all know how I feel about that. But yeah,
Right.
so Marvel is smart, very smart for that.
Yeah, you know, I see that both ways. I see the positive and negatives to it. Like obviously, positives to it are drumming up hype, drumming up a buzz, and kind of getting what people think. You know, they can kind of see online like, oh, this was a good pick, or oh no, this is a shitty pick, and so then they kind of try to gauge the people's reactions to like, hey, what are the box office going to look like? But at the same time, I see that as a negative because it's like it's not. It shouldn't be all about who the actor is. It should be about what the writing is. Like, what is the story of this movie? Like, this shouldn't be the only draw to the movie. It's like, oh, I'm going to go see it because Pedro Pascal is in it. No, you should want to go see it because it looks like a good movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So, like, yeah, that's going to be kind of something we touch on a little bit when we get into the full on meat of the podcast here in just a couple of minutes. But two other things I want to touch on really quick. One, did you ever hear the rumor about them wanting to cast Anya Taylor-Joy as not as Silver Surfer? They didn't say specifically Silver Surfer. They said a Herald of Galactus.
Yes, I have. I didn't know who, but I knew it was going to be. They were trying to make it a female, and I don't like that.
I don't. My whole thing is like, if you're gonna bring in Galactus, do it right and bring in Silver Surfer, but it doesn't need to be a woman. Like, there's no reason for her to be a woman. Now, Galactus does have a female herald, and her name is Frankie Ray, but Frankie Ray was way further down the line as one of Galactus's heralds. So there's no real reason to like jump to her first and then not give us Silver Surfer first. Makes no sense. So yeah,
Unless
I
you're
would
going to give.
say.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, unless you're going to give us both of them at the same time, like I'll take that. Hey.
Maybe, but like at this point, like I don't. Again, like they would have to make it make sense. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, okay, if you're gonna try and say that Galactus has multiple heralds all at once, not just one, because then they can all go out across the galaxy or across the universe and like pick multiple places for him to like go. Then yeah, I can understand that. And then like one of them is Silver Surfer, one of them is Frankie Ray. Terrax is probably in there. Freaking Fire Lord and Airwalker. Sure. But don't just be like, oh, we're going to skip over Silver Surfer, who is arguably the most famous and most, like, you know, popular of his heralds. You're just going to skip over him and go straight to Frankie Ray, who not the wider, you know, array of, you know, the wider audience are going to know who this is. Like, come on now. So, yeah, that's my thoughts on that. And then, of course, the biggest piece of news that's been out in the last couple of weeks is that Jonathan Majors was unfortunately found guilty, not on all counts, but on some counts of harassment and like it was physical abuse, right? Domestic violence.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think they said assault, but either way, so like, unfortunately, he was found guilty. It sucks to hear that, and subsequently, because of that, he's been, I believe, he's been fired by Marvel. I don't know if they ever outright came out and said it, to my knowledge, but like the idea, somebody basically came and said like, yeah, he's out as Kang, so we're not going to be getting Jonathan Majors back as Kang in the MCU. So that really sucks. But that's not anything new. This is something that they have been talking about now since his like troubles first started. Like since his troubles first started in the courts, like they were already talking about like, yeah, we're gonna need to, you know, reverse this and like go another direction possibly. even before I think the trouble started, I want to say that they were like, because Kang didn't make a big splash with what is it called, with Quantumania, that they were just like, yeah, no, or because, well, really because Quantumania didn't really sell as well as they wanted it to. Like they have been thinking about it since then. So like, and then combined with the like legal troubles and stuff like that, they were starting to backpedal and be like, yeah, no, maybe we should change course here. So all all in all, I feel like that's super unfortunate. What are your thoughts on this whole matter, dude?
Uh, it hurts to see. To hear that this is going on. I mean, it's not like something you can just like sweep under the rug. Sweep under the rug.
Right.
But honestly, I've seen some people, not going to say names, and then find out that he actually did something recently that he got in trouble for. Like I said, I'm not going to say names. Whoever played Flash, get in trouble and still running freely. Like, so like that doesn't make any sense to me. Like how they want to try to like come down on Jonathan Majors, but I understand it's also a business too. I mean, they like, I'm hoping like they find a way to like his lawyer finds something to try to get it reversed. But show goes on. Quantumania was pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie. Um, and it definitely shouldn't have been. Even though everybody thinks King is the big bad, he's not the big bad for Phase 4. He's just the face for the next big bad of Phase 4. And I want to say Phase 4, but changes had to be made, and I'm hoping that they give us justice, because to me, I thought Kang did a great job. I thought Jonathan Majors did a great job as Kang, especially in Loki. And to me, he did a great job in Quantumania, but Quantumania, the movie itself, was terrible.
Yeah, really. I think that's the biggest thing, and like I could be wrong. I can swear like I've seen everywhere that like Kang was the better part of that movie. Like Jonathan Majors playing Kang, like he brought the intensity, he brought what he needed to. But overall, the movie just kind of overshadowed his performance in it, because the movie was not great. And then even the decision to like kill this version of Kang at the end by ants, like, okay, this guy is supposedly a conqueror who killed many different variations of the Avengers in different universes, only to like get taken out by some ants that are now like dog sized. Like, come on now.
Yeah, that was pretty stupid. Oh,
But
that was horrible.
that's just a sign of like one of the many issues that was kind of going on in the MCU post Endgame. And now we've already talked about this on the previous episode. If you want to hear our thoughts on what the MCU did wrong, watch the previous episode and then come back and watch this episode, because this is actually where we're going to give our thoughts, give our ideas on what we would have done to like make a better MCU going forward post Endgame. So I want to say post Endgame because we are going to be starting with Phase 4. Now, we're technically in the middle of Phase 5 right now in the MCU, and one of the films I'm going to mention, actually Quantumania, is technically Phase 5. I thought it was Phase 4, but I feel like the place where I put it in my list here, it makes sense in Phase 4, and we could agree or disagree about it. We could brainstorm about why it is or isn't in a good place. So, but basically, that discussion is leading into what this discussion is going to be here, which is just us brainstorming and talking about things that we wanted to do to make what we would have wanted to see to make the MCU better, and just kind of give our thoughts and ideas as to what we would do. So that being said, why don't we get right into it? I'm going to start by saying, so I have this all written down on my phone here. I told you that one day I was just like, dude, I freaking like it was like jotting stuff down. Once I started getting the brain juices flowing, I was just like, but so the main thing with Phase 4. And this was total marketing stuff that they should have done. They should have thought about this shit. Phase 4 should have been the Fantastic Phase 4.
Yep.
Because at the very end of this should have introduced us to the Fantastic Four. There's no reason why. And like even in their own marketing, they put Phase 4 and then they gave us a Fantastic Four logo.
Yeah,
in the very beginning of it, that's what they did. And then just for them to be like, oh, we're probably not going to be getting Fantastic Four for some time. And like, I get it. You guys want to have like you guys want to make sure that the story's right. You want to make sure that it makes sense in the grand scheme of things. But like, let's be honest. You guys they didn't necessarily seem like post Endgame they were really banking on a whole lot. They were kind of taking stuff and throwing it at the wall to see what stuck. So that's like the first thing. Like the very first thing is should have been Fantastic Phase 4. Right? Stick to quality over quantity. I personally, what I wrote out here, I ended up taking out, I think I got rid of 3 projects. I switched them in with a couple of different projects, but overall everything makes sense because it doesn't, in terms of like the hours that everything would run up to, it's not as much as like what we've gotten in the very first part of, or all of Phase 4, and then even into the first part of Phase 5. So stick to quality over quantity. Change some of the Disney Plus shows to special presentations. So again, instead of giving us 6 hour-long episodes or something, just give us 1 hour-long or 1 hour-long little like presentation to introduce us to something, to an idea or to a character. Move up the release of X-Men and Fantastic Four. Mainly it's Fantastic Four because, again, this is the Fantastic Phase 4. Black Widow should have been in Phase 3 right after Civil War. I will die on that hill. There's no reason why we should have gotten Black Widow after Endgame. There's no reason why we should have gotten Black Widow after Captain Marvel. Like, she was in the movies first. We wanted to know her origin story. We wanted to get a Black Widow solo film. She should have been in Phase 3.
Agreed.
Like, and literally where it takes place in the Marvel timeline, that's where where that movie should have gone.
Yep.
Right after Civil War, we should have rolled right into Black Widow. I mean, you can change some stuff up about that movie. Like, you don't have to put so much emphasis on that last scene with, it's literally the end credit scene. So, like, literally, you can just pluck that right out. It doesn't have to have anything to do with anything. All it served to do was to set up the, like, thing in Hawkeye. So, like, again, you could just pull that out and put that somewhere else. Really put it somewhere else. Hell, that could have been the like little stinger at the end of Endgame, like the very end of Endgame. Although I like the way that Endgame ended in that we didn't have any like what do you call it? We didn't have any like end credit scenes in that, so that's fine. But so Black Widow should have been in Phase 3 right after Civil War, or even after Far From Home. Get rid of the end scene with Yelena and the snap. And if you did do it, put it after Far From Home, then you can keep it if you did it after Far From Home. Take a longer break. So give the world time to breathe and miss the MCU before coming back with a vengeance. Right? So, like, after Endgame, we should have gotten, like, a year off from Marvel. Give us a year off from Marvel. No, nothing. Like, I maybe even Far From Home. Give us Far From Home, and then after that, take 1 year off from Marvel to like reset. Let everybody like think about what just happened. Like, shit, that was 10 years of everything building to what we saw in Endgame, and like, what are they going to do next? And then like give us the year off and be like, oh my god, dude, I'm itching for like the next Marvel thing. What is it going to be? What's it going to be?
That's part of that quality
like-
over quantity.
Right. And then granted, like 2020 kind of did that for us, but at the same time, like there was a reason why it was like that. You know what I mean? So like there's a reason why we didn't get anything in 2020, and that sucks. And at that point, you got to think about it. We were itching for more Marvel stuff. We were like, damn, dude, y'all got any more of the Marvel shows? Like, I need to see something.
Facts.
Y'all got any more of the Marvel movies, dude? Like, nothing. Like, I need to watch something while I'm locked up in this freaking house.
Mm-hmm.
But had they taken the year off before that, like not giving us anything, but then like started the production 2019 or end of 2018, beginning of 2019, done all that production in 2020, we would have had that shit. We would have had it.
Agreed.
But I digress. So any issues with what I've said so far?
No, not at all. Actually, I'm loving what you're saying right now. I'm definitely with you with the quality over quantity. Phase 4, I definitely agree they should have had the Fantastic Four in here, so you should have been had the Fantastic Four.
Mm-hmm.
But
Definitely.
but I'm still listening because I definitely have some things I was gonna say as well. So I don't know if you want me to jump in yet or you want me to keep going.
Well, let me quickly run down what I'm gonna say. There's a couple of things here, and then we could back and forth here.
Yeah.
So 3 projects I wanted to get rid of. Eternals, 100%. Doesn't need to freaking exist. Doesn't need to exist at all.
For the movie that they put out, hands down should be gone.
Gone.
That should disappear.
Thor 4.
Disappear. Let it go.
I like Thor, but I did not like that movie. There's a place in it. There's a place in my heart for it, and like the very bottom part of my heart.
It could have been way better. Yeah, it could have been way better. Love the fact that they introduced Jane Thor, but should be better. Definitely should have been better. I don't want to hear quippy. I don't want to hear quippy Chris Hemsworth. I want to hear that Thor 1, Thor 2 Hemsworth. Like, give me that dark Thor.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely like wait for the right move to either make a whole new Thor movie or just sprinkle Thor in places. Just give us a little Susan of Thor just in like little places, like the freaking Parmesan on top of my spaghetti.
Little sasso.
Freaking and then get rid of She-Hulk.
Please
Don't get me wrong. I know that there are people who really like that show.
Who?
An overwhelming majority do not like the show, and the only reason that they were watching it was because they saw Daredevil. And Homo and we didn't get them until second to last episode. So like,
who liked that show?
There were people who liked it. There were people who liked it.
I gave you the Snoop Dogg who too. Who? Fuck no. If you like She-Hulk, you have a real problem. That was literally the worst Marvel show that I've seen.
It literally was, dude. And like it, I remember them saying like it's Ally McBeal, but with superheroes. It was not Ally McBeal, dude. Ally McBeal was decent back in the day. This was not. This definitely was not. But yeah, so 100% like Eternals gone, Thor 4 gone, She-Hulk gone. Don't need them. Do not want them. If we want to start adding them in somewhere else later down the road, sure, but in a different format. So that right there, that off the bat, that gets rid of 3 things. Again, pushing that quality over quantity thing. Projects that I wanted to change. WandaVision. As much as I liked the last couple episodes, the first 3 or 4 or whatever it was, the first 3 were very unnecessary. Like, I get what you guys were doing, but at the same time, like, didn't need to happen. So turn that into a special presentation. You know, turn it into a special presentation, tighten the story, less of the sitcom, do more of the like the latter half of that where it's like it's like an exercise into what it means to grieve, what the grieving process is, what a superhero that's in grief looks like, and what she has done in order to process that. and then kind of like make that lead into something else. Which it kind of did, but at the same time, like
it didn't lead
what?
to what we thought it should have been.
What do you think it should have been, or what do you think it should have led into?
I think it should have led into Project X. I think I said that right. Where she
okay.
that she's actually being manipulated by Magneto to have that, to create that barrier. So there's no. I think that's what he did. I think it was Project X. No, that he
You
had to
might be
create
thinking
that
of you might be thinking of House of M.
House of M. Yes. Where Magneto makes her, like, he manipulates her into creating that barrier. And there was no humans and things like that. Not humans, no mutants. Excuse me. So I felt like that could have been our introduction point to Magneto into X-Men.
I like that. I think with some working, with a little reworking, it could have worked that way. The way I was thinking of it was going to actually be something that led into Multiverse of Madness. But I like your idea, sir. That makes sense, especially considering that we know that, like, even within the series, it told us that, like, the Mind Stone didn't give her powers; it just helped her to unlock them.
Mm-hmm.
And that we learn that she is a chaos being, but, like, what is a chaos being, or what is a person who uses chaos as magic, or what is a nexus being, blah blah blah, and, like, also kind of helping to lead into what is a mutant even. So, like, that makes some sense. I like that. Miss Marvel, change her powers. Give her damn stretchy powers, bro. Give her stretchy powers. The whole rest of the show, honestly, you could leave it as it was. Give her damn stretchy powers.
Bro, what power is she? Like, I still don't know what the hell that shit was in that show.
I like hard light, bro. I don't know if they explain it more in the Marvels just because I haven't seen it, but, like,
bro,
she didn't need to be a Green Lantern, dude. She didn't need to be that.
In the brightest day and blackest night type power. I don't want to see a damn Green Lantern in I don't want to see a lantern in Marvel. That's not what this. That's keep that on DC. Like, no, keep going,
Right.
please. I don't. As soon as I saw that shit and I instantly messaged you, like, bro, what the fuck is this? What kind of power is this? Like, this is not who Miss Marvel who Miss Marvel is. She's supposed to be embiggen, get big, stretch. Like, no, this is not. This is
Right.
No. Please fix it. Please, I beg you, fix
trust
it.
me, I get it. Trust me, I get it. And, like, that, if, again, keep the show the way it was, dude. Keep it exactly as it was.
Just
change her powers. Just change her powers to she
What it's
goes to
supposed
stretch.
to be.
It's her actual hand stretching, not all freaking light beam going as her hand. Like, just leave it. Don't fix what ain't broke. You know what I mean?
The show wasn't bad. It's just her powers was terrible.
That's what I'm saying. Like, the show wasn't bad. It was really good. And like I've said before, the show was not for me. It wasn't for me. But I recognized that it wasn't made for me. It was made for somebody, like a young girl growing up. Like, that was her kind of show. And it also, like I said, it taught me something that I really didn't know. I had no idea about partition and what that meant.
Yeah.
So that taught me something. So it gave me a peek into the life of what it means to be, a Pakistani immigrant or, Muslim immigrant in this country. You know what I mean? So it's not something I've ever seen.
Yeah.
But yeah. Moving forward, we got Moon Knight. Now, I kind of liked Moon Knight, but it wasn't the Moon Knight that I expected it to be. It was a little too up there. I feel like turning it into a special presentation, so don't give him a full-on series. Turning it into a special presentation and then make it more grounded. Make it like the street, like, make him Marvel's Batman, because that's who he is. Give us the hour-long, like, him, even if he's not in, like, the streets of New York, in the streets of Cairo. set it in the streets of Cairo where he's trying to solve a murder or he's trying to catch a criminal or something like that. And then at the end of it, you know, like throughout, you kind of see him changing personalities and stuff like that, and becoming, you know, darker and like maybe hurting somebody more, and then maybe pulling back into like his Stephen Grant persona and like, you know, wanting to talk to them or blah blah blah, whatever it was. And then if you wanted to make it into like a little case study, sure, but keep it short and keep it super grounded.
Yeah,
What are your thoughts on that?
I liked Moon Knight. I didn't like the show. The show was okay. I think I told you this. It definitely could have been better. I've seen some good points. I've seen some terrible points. But yeah, Moon Knight definitely should have been one of those like Werewolf by Night type things.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, like
definitely.
It definitely should have been. I think that shit should have flip flopped. So Werewolf by Night, amazing, loved it. Also, Bloodstone, got to see, loved it. I feel like that should have been the series compared to Moon Knight or even Miss Marvel. I think Miss Marvel should have, like you said, I think that should have been an hour too. Like, but yeah, like that.
Again, I was fine with Miss Marvel being a series because that's fine. Because then it, like, you know, it's like a series made for like a young adolescent teen girl or whatever like that. But again, Moon Knight, 100%. Like, keep it in the same realm of like what Werewolf by Night was, where it's like, and at the time that you could have dropped it, because we got Werewolf by Night what, last year or the year before that? Year before that at Halloween. If they would have done that like 2020, 2021 Halloween, would have been sick.
Agreed.
Sick.
I feel like after watching Moon Knight, it deterred people from wanting to know the kind of character he is. Moon Knight's a really dope character. With the multiple personalities and stuff too. But he's a really dope character. And I was explaining that to somebody because somebody was like, "Yo, what do you guys think of Moon Knight?" I said, honestly, the show was pretty bad. It was a terrible representation of what Moon Knight is. Moon Knight's a really dope character. If you ever get a chance, read some of his comics. He has some pretty good comics and team ups.
Oh yeah, definitely. His team ups are insane. Like, he teams up with freaking Spider-Man, Werewolf by Night. He teams up with them. Blade, if I'm not mistaken.
He does.
He's got some crazy team ups. So like, he's dope. But yeah, so shorten it, make it more grounded. Multiverse of Madness. I wanted to make Wanda less of a villain and more of a like reluctant evil. Like, somebody else put upon her, like gave her the choice. I can do this for you if you do this for me, type of thing. And then her, honestly kind of wanting to take that chance. I put tempted by Chthon. So like, in the comics, that's part of where she gets her powers from, is Chthon, who is, I want to say, like the deity of like chaos.
Mm-hmm.
Like on Mount Wundagore, where they are in the movie, like that's supposed to be his, like, not his domain, but like where he's imprisoned. So make her less of a villain and more of a reluctant evil, tempted by Chthon. Involve more of the multiverse. So like, them actually not them like flying through the multiverse and then ending up in one place, but like making stops along the way in different multiverses, and we get to see like what life is like in different multiverses, not just the one other one. And then the end scene with Strange meeting the 616, so like our main version of Reed, telling him he recently met a variant of his. So like, that's our first stinger right there to like, hey, there's new characters coming. You know what I mean? Hawkeye I liked, but just at the very end, show Kate's desire to start a team, start her own Avengers, if you will. Because they kind of hinted at that in the very beginning of the show. Like, she was such a fan of Hawkeye because Hawkeye saved her life basically.
Mm-hmm.
But like through the whole thing, she was like a fan of the Avengers in general. So like, why not show that she has an actual desire to like create her own Avengers team? So I think because they've been hinting at Young Avengers now for a while, why don't they just start that ball rolling in there?
True. But I've got the 411 on the Marvels. Kate Bishop shows in the Marvels and asks Miss Marvel, like she's trying to start the Young Avengers, so it's in the works. I didn't.
That's
like,
what I heard too.
I haven't watched it. I know you haven't watched it, and yeah, that was spoiled for me. So I say I didn't care if you're gonna spoil it. I'm gonna watch it probably anyway. So yeah. That happens.
I heard about that too, but like again, at this point, I don't want to say it's too little, too late, but I feel like this is something that it could have happened a couple years ago.
Yeah.
Start the ball rolling there, and then move it to a point where by Phase 5 we got Young Avengers. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
So then this was the one I didn't realize it wasn't in Phase 4. I thought it was, but it's technically Phase 5. So Quantumania. But so I guess in this iteration of the Phase 4, we're putting Quantumania in here. Take out Kang, make AIM the bad guys. So advanced idea mechanics, make them the bad guys, and drive it towards Cassie becoming a hero. So like they had that sort of little plot line in Quantumania, but it didn't really go anywhere. You know what I'm saying? So like you kind of drive home the like importance to Cassie. Like this is what it means to be a hero, and what it means to be putting on that suit. Type of deal. Maybe honestly just change the movie around altogether. Maybe they don't need to be in the quantum realm. They're just like, we already used the quantum realm now in one movie with Endgame. You know, I take that back. No, they used the quantum realm now in like 3 movies. So it's like the very end of the first Ant-Man, and then like it's part of the plot in Ant-Man and the Wasp, but then also the biggest part of the story for Endgame. We don't need to keep going back to this place. We've already learned about it. There's not much else to come from it. And if anything, it just makes it more confusing that like, okay, so the quantum realm was something that like he was traveling through, became small, but then grew back out of. We know that Hope's mother, Janet Van Dyne, was stuck there. And then in Endgame, we learned how to use it to travel through time. But then now we're learning that people actually live there. That Janet was also like friends with and had connections with for a very long time. Even though time supposedly works differently there. Again, it's all confusing, so why keep on compounding it? With hey, let's keep doing stuff in quantum realm. No, just take it out. It's done.
Like, yeah,
we figured out what it was before. Got enough of it. Let's do something else. Okay. Now I have some projects to add. Fantastic Four, obviously. Have it. I put that it's set right after Multiverse of Madness. Fantastic Four start exploring the multiverse, because that's one thing here. This is called the Multiverse Saga now. These next 3 phases are called the Multiverse Saga. Other than No Way Home and Multiverse of Madness, there hasn't really been a whole lot in terms of like what the multiverse is. And then obviously Loki kind of helps to explain what that is, and then What If kind of shows some more of that. But other than those things, none of the movies have anything to do with any of the multiverse shit at all.
It really doesn't, and that's so like So like you're pushing the multiverse phase, but we don't see. All right, like what exactly did we get out of the multiverse? Like you said, out of those 2 movies, the only thing as of right now that we're going to be getting out of the multiverse, and even though it's not here yet, is Deadpool. Deadpool is going to be tied to the multiverse too.
Right.
And
And again,
And
this
then
is already that's like still another year away. So
exactly,
like, or a few months away, but
yeah. And we seen the piece of the symbiote drop in. When do we, or what are you gonna do with that? Like, because from what I'm hearing, Spider-Man 4, like, well, what we heard from about Spider-Man 4, I don't like the idea. I'm hoping that's not the idea what they come up with. Drop a solo Spider-Man movie. It's time for him to have his solo movie. Not, I got Iron
Spider-Man and
Man.
his using friends.
Yeah, basically, I got Iron Man in one movie. I got who's in the second one?
Nick
Um,
Fury
Nick
and
Fury's in yeah.
yeah,
Well, I'm not gonna count Mysterio because he wasn't a good guy. But yeah, you got Nick Fury in the second one, and then the third one you have the other Spider-Man. Like, bro,
and Doctor Strange.
and Doctor Strange. Bro, let this man have a solo movie, please. Give him a solo movie. He deserves a solo movie. There's no way that you drop this good of a character. Well, we waited this long to have this good of a character in this universe, the MCU, for you to just have him with a bunch of other people.
I can understand
Cap got his own movie, with nobody in it, just him. Iron Man, he had two of them, no, three. Nobody came into the Iron Man movies. It was just him, bro. Spider-Man deserves
that. Technically,
a
Cap
Spider-Man.
had two where it was just him, but because Civil War was all of them. But yeah,
Yeah. All right. So, bro, give this man his own movie. He deserves it.
no,
Don't.
I
I'm
agree.
tired of seeing. I'm
I
tired of
agree.
seeing other people follow into Spider-Man's movies, bro. Spider-Man is legit like Batman in the in well, for him, Marvel. I'm talking about Spider-Man. You don't need to have all these people with Spider-Man. Spider-Man sticks out by himself. Like, then, like, all right, well, who can we give people, bro? They, like, you had, all right. Have they used Rhino yet? Yeah, they have. I'm trying to think of
Not
what
really.
villain, bro. Bam. Here's one they can drop on us. Spider-Man versus Mr. Negative. I would love to see that. I mean, we've seen it in the cards. I mean, in the game. I would love to see Spider-Man versus Mr. Negative.
Spider-Man versus Scorpion.
Spider-Man versus Scorpion. We haven't had Scorpion yet.
They teased him in Homecoming, and
Yeah.
he still hasn't shown up yet.
There's another one that I'm happy we got to see Mysterio. Mysterio was pretty. I mean, like, the movie was it was okay, but it was dope to see Mysterio. I always wanted to see a Mysterio in a Spider-Man movie. We got him in a cartoon. Great. There's another big Spider-Man villain that I would love to see. Oh, well, no, we did get him. Never mind. But say Hobgoblin, Craven,
Ooh,
another
Hobgoblin.
one. Yeah, Hobgoblin, Craven,
Green Goblin.
Green. Well, yeah, another. Well, we got Green Goblin.
Well, yeah, we got Green Goblin, but I mean, like, and I'm glad that we finally got like a really good Green Goblin this time, but still, like, yeah, no, I see what you're saying. Like, they still have yet to like touch on the potential of Spider-Man or really tap that vein. So I get it. I definitely understand. But we could touch on that some more. We could probably even talk about maybe possibly adding, or we could talk about maybe even what we would have wanted to change or see different from No Way Home in just a second here. Let me get through these couple other things really quick before we jump into like what the timeline looks like, right?
Yeah.
So Fantastic Four, set right after Multiverse of Madness, the Fantastic Four start exploring the multiverse. In their travels, the F4 encounters a Kang variant, not the Conqueror, setting him up as the big bad for the multiverse saga. At least that's what we're led to believe, right? Fantastic Four sets them up as a joinable team that picks up new members from around the multiverse. This would close out Phase 4, opening up the multiverse truly for exploration. So, and then this is what I have it broken down as, right, for the timeline or for what their releases would be. So for the first year of Marvel, we get Shang-Chi. So I want to keep Shang-Chi. We get special presentation Moon Knight. Falcon and Winter Soldier can stay. We get Hawkeye. and then Ant-Man and the Wasp 2. So instead of it being Quantumania, it's Ant-Man and the Wasp. You could give it a different name. You could just call it Ant-Man and the Wasp 2. But yeah, it's literally it's them, not even in the quantum realm. It's them fighting AIM. Then we can get MODOK and actually get a good MODOK, and it sets up Cassie becoming an actual hero. Then for year 2, we get Loki, which literally, and I mean, I don't want to change shit from Loki. I don't want to change Loki at all. Loki, and then that leads into the first season of What If. So we get What If season 1. That also then leads into Spider-Man No Way Home, because it has to do with the multiverse, right? So then we start to see, I mean, even if you wanted to, at the very end of What If season 1, you can start teasing some of the other Spider-Man, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So that way it leads into Spider-Man No Way Home. And then from there you get special presentation, WandaVision. And then that will help to lead directly into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And we have those changes that I put into all of those. Then you get year 3, Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. What did I just say? Black Panther, Wakanda Forever. I don't know what I just said. Did I say that right the first time?
No, you didn't.
Okay, I didn't think so. I was like, wait.
It's like you said, like Black Panda.
Okay, that's what I thought I said. So I was like, did I say Panda? Panda? I don't know. Either way. So Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, Miss Marvel, and then Fantastic Four to like close out the movies. And then you get the 2 special presentations. You get Werewolf by Night, and then for Christmas you get Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special. And that's the end of Phase 4. Now, obviously, there's Phase 5 that we haven't gotten into because there's some stuff in Phase 5 that I don't necessarily like. There's better stuff, but there wasn't great stuff. What are your thoughts on that, man? Give me something. Let's talk a little bit, because we still got some time, obviously, on the podcast. I want to fill it with some like ideas and stuff.
I like the direction that you are starting. I would find a way to possibly throw in X-Men in as well. But the timeline you got, it makes perfect sense for like that. All right, so I'm gonna go back a little bit. I gotta go back. What I would do is, first off, I'm changing the names of the stupid Black Panther movies. I hate the fact that the movies they should be flip flopped. It should be Wakanda Forever should have been the first Black Panther movie. Let's start there. That should have been Wakanda Forever.
Yeah.
The second one should be the Black Panther. So I'm sorry I had to flip flop those because I think that's kind of important. I hate the fact that they called the first one Black Panther and lately we're learning about Wakanda. And then the second one, it has more to do with the Black Panther, even though it was Shuri.
Yeah, that makes sense. I would argue that. I would agree with that. That makes sense.
Yeah, everything else that you said falls in line.
So in terms of like adding the X-Men, I think that having those little teases, kind of like even in Miss Marvel, when we find out that she's a mutant, that would be like, the start of like, not even necessarily start. What you said about WandaVision, like if anything, I feel like towards the end of like of Phase 4, that's when we start rolling a little bit of the X-Men out too, just start getting the ball rolling for that.
Yep.
So like with WandaVision, I liked your idea about that being like Magneto manipulating her in order to like create what she did there.
Yep.
Or even maybe not even a Magneto necessarily. Maybe there is another, like maybe there's a telepath that's like sort of manipulating her mind.
Mm-hmm.
That would be something like Emma Frost or not Charles Xavier, because obviously he's supposed to be a good guy, but like
Mr. Sinister.
Ooh, Mr. Sinister. I like what you think. I like where you're going with this. I like that. Mr. Sinister, that would be sick.
Yeah,
that would be So like somebody behind the scenes kind of manipulating her into doing that, and then again that leading into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness, where she's kind of a put upon, not really a villain, but like somebody who's kind of put upon and kind of given the choice to become a villain, more or less. But then like with Miss Marvel, we start getting like she sort of, they start dropping hints about her becoming or her being a mutant. Fantastic Four, you could have them like as they're going through the multiverse, find mutants from different freaking, like, they could stop in the freaking Fox franchise and be like, maybe not necessarily Deadpool, but like somebody else from that universe, like and not Logan, because no, that's just like pandering too much. I would feel like, who would be a good mutant from the Foxverse for them to pick? Beast. They were to pick up Beast, kind of like how they did this stupid like post credit scene with Beast in Marvels. That's who they have joined. That's somebody that they have joined their team in Fantastic Four.
Beast is part of the Fantastic Four too, right? He's been in one of the Fantastic Four. Okay.
No, but he's not part of Future Foundation. But they'd be crazy to not make him part of the Future Foundation, like in this iteration of the Fantastic Four.
Okay.
So like they could have Beast, and then Beast comes in as like a geneticist specialist. You know what I mean? As somebody who could kind of like, maybe that's another plot point within the movie of Fantastic Four, where they're like, hey, we've also started seeing like people are manifesting powers out of nowhere. Like, what could this mean? And Beast kind of comes in and it's just like, that might mean that they have the X gene, and this might be the reason why it's finally starting to show up in like in your universe. And like they start saying, this was, oh my god, dude. So this was a plot point that they kind of glossed over in Endgame, and like they glossed over ever since. Remember when Rocket said, the snap happened, or when the snap happened, he was just like, it's something that untold cosmological events, blah blah blah, and like nobody's ever seen, everybody's ever seen before, until it happened on that one world where, the garden or whatever. But then not only that, the fact that there was 2 more snaps on Earth after that, so there's been a total of 3 snaps. So completely insane, like cosmological events happened on this one planet. You mean to tell me that it has no repercussions on the DNA of humans when these stones give off massive amounts of gamma radiation? That right there would tell me that, like, hey, maybe the reason why there's mutants starting to pop up, or people with powers starting to pop up, is because the like entire, atmosphere has been changed because of the 3 snaps that happened in close proximity to one another. Like maybe the first one, it might have had a little bit of a change, but it wasn't anything that really happened too bad. But then 5 years later, we get 2 that are back to back within like a couple of hours. Yeah. 2 alone would have been like something that, like, shit, this is starting to make things a little bit rocky. But then 3, like right after that, it's just like, all right, there's gonna be some changes in this human DNA, blah blah blah. And then like we start seeing, like, that's when mutants start coming out. That's when we get Miss Marvel, and then you can start seeing like other mutants that have to do with like Wanda and even other characters and stuff like that. So I could kind of see that kind of rolling in.
Another funny thing too. What phase was it? I'm gonna say what phase was. Do you know when they sold the Avengers Tower?
That was at the. When was that?
Because I know they were moving stuff out of.
It was in Homecoming. So like, yeah, that was like, well, it's phase 3, but yeah, that's Homecoming.
You ever paid attention to in the background of Homecoming? When he was running through I think he's running through the street, and it had like 1, 2, 3, and then had the 4. I think it was like a 4 circled on it. It shows that not the Avengers. It shows that Fantastic Four has basically bought out the Avengers Tower too. I
Well,
don't know if you ever paid attention to that.
I don't think I remember seeing that, but I remember that being like a big, huge contention with a lot of fans. Was just like, okay, who bought Avengers Tower? Then we still haven't figured out or found out who it was. A lot of people thought maybe maybe Oscorp bought it and took it over. But the biggest thing was that people were like, maybe it's the Fantastic Four, and the fact that we still haven't gotten an answer to that to this day.
To this day.
To this day. Means that like that was just something that they were just like, yeah.
I think they're gonna. I really think they're gonna bring it out when the Fantastic Four comes. I feel like.
I would hope so, dude, because like it makes sense. It's a huge building with all sciencey stuff, R&D, all this stuff that like Reed would 100% be into. Like, there's no reason why, and then like even if it's not just Reed, make it the Future Foundation.
Yeah.
Like there is precedence for it.
Give us the start. Like, come on. All right, so now it's time to fill in. I want to say fill in, but like, yeah, I think it's time we should start like bouncing out. No, it wasn't bouncing ideas. You literally were just talking about like what to do. Like you're fixing it, right? There was a few fillers that I was gonna throw in there as well. Like I said, off my idea, definitely. Off your idea. We introduced Fantastic Four. You said have him go into the the multiverse, and then like you said, they start pulling people. And that introduces not introduces like other characters, but introduces characters maybe that we even seen before. Bring back certain characters, or definitely you want to bring in the X-Men, because the X-Men have to be here soon. Like, there's no reason why we don't have the X-Men yet. Especially around that time, they already bought the X-Men, so the X-Men should be here already. So
yeah, both of them, Fantastic Four and the X-Men, should already be in here. Like, give me 1 second, because I want to say this was like 2015. When did Disney? Oh, really? That was 2019? The Walt Disney Company was announced. The acquisition was announced December 2017. It was completed by March of 2019. Okay. But, like, even still, like...
All right, so for me, it says Disney announced its acquisition of 21st Century Fox on December 14, 2017, and completed it March 20th, 2019 for $71 billion.
What I just said.
Yeah. So all right, so you started the 2017, got completed in 2019. All right, 2019.
2019 is where we have the break for Marvel, because Endgame was 2018. After Endgame, even like I don't remember when Spider-Man Far From Home came out. If anything, I think it was early 2019 or late 2018. But either way, like, you give us that, and then after that, no Marvel for a whole year.
July 2nd, 2019.
July 2nd was Far From Home?
Yeah.
Make it happen sooner. Make it happen sooner. Why wait? Make it happen sooner.
The film's released on June 28th in China and Japan, and in the United States it was July 2nd. Yeah. Like you said, make it sooner. Like,
Make it sooner.
It came out in Hollywood and Los Angeles on June 26th. It released in China June 28th, and then it hit the States, like actually hit us July 2nd.
Yeah. Just make it happen sooner. Earlier in the year, and then done. That's it. No more Marvel for at least a year. No more Marvel that we're watching, that we're able to like consume. But so by that time, 2019, you finally have like the go ahead, like, hey, you guys got the Fantastic Four. You guys got the X-Men. Start the ball. Get the ball rolling. You should have started the ball rolling back in 2017 when they first announced this shit. It's like, okay, so I'm gonna get these freaking these toys to play with. I'm gonna start getting
filling them
scripts
in
out.
with
At least I'm gonna at least start to put into place on my freaking little blackboard or on my whiteboard, like, okay, this is where we're gonna put them, this is where we're gonna put them, this is where we're gonna put them. We already know that, like, the MCU as a whole, things change all the time. So even if they announce it one way, things might change, later down the road.
Mm-hmm.
How many times did they tell us, like, originally, I remember for Infinity War, it was going to be Infinity War Part 1 and 2, and then, like, or no, it was going to be Infinity War, like, one movie, and then they split it into two, Infinity War Part 1 and Part 2, and then they changed those even from Infinity War to Endgame. So, like, it's not like this thing isn't an ever-evolving thing, but they could have started the ball rolling then, 2017, put in place, like, hey, this is the character we're gonna use here, or this is what we're gonna do here, what we're gonna do here, what we're gonna do here.
Yep.
We have everything already planned out through Endgame, and then we'll take the year off. No more Marvel. Let them, stew. Let them freaking start fiending for us again. We're already starting to work, and then even, like, with what I have down here, like, by 2020, then we get Shang-Chi, we get Moon Knight, like, all those things that they were already, like, they should have already been working on. Then by 2020, we get those things. That's year one. Year two is 2021, and we start getting into, like, Loki, What If, Spider-Man No Way Home, and all that other stuff. So all this stuff is already starting to happen behind the scenes, and then not until 2022 do we get Fantastic Four. And, like, it's by that point, then we've heard about it in 2022 we heard about it 5 years before that they were going to get Fantastic Four. By 2019, they finally have the ability to start using Fantastic Four, and then 3 years later in 2020 or 2022, we have the Fantastic.
Yep. And now this is what I would have did with Fantastic Four, though. This is where I would have introduced Namor instead of him being in Black Panther.
Okay.
But then again,
I just remembered something that I forgot. There was a caveat that I forgot. There was something I was thinking of a while ago. So even before, like, while Wakanda Forever was before it came out, everybody was, like, anticipating that, hey, maybe we get, like, a Doom cameo at the end of this, because of Doom's connection to both Wakanda and Atlantis, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if at the end of Black Panther Wakanda Forever, that part when Namor goes back to his people and they say that, at some point they're going to need us to, they're going to need us, blah, blah, blah. And that they'll be our ally, blah, 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 or they will be destroyed.
Oh,
what if
Doom.
At the end of that, right, it's him talking to Doom, because Doom is setting up it's instead of the Atlantean Wakandan War, it's the Talokan Wakandan War. And it's basically because he's trying to get freaking vibranium from both of them. Right?
Yeah.
And, like, just introduce Doom, not even in, like, a suit or anything like that, just introduce the person who's going to be in the suit talking to Namor. And then move on from there, because then he can even make a quick cameo at the end of Fantastic Four. He doesn't need to be the first villain that the Fantastic Four face up against. He wasn't even the first villain in the very first Fantastic Four comic book. I don't think he showed up until, like, issue 6, if I'm not mistaken. But, like, I'll tell you right now. He first appeared 5. I take that back. So it was Fantastic Four number 5. But he didn't even appear in the very first issue of a Fantastic Four. Why does he need to be in the first movie? If anything, like I said, tease him a little bit in Black Panther Wakanda. I keep saying that wrong. Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Black Panda.
And then tease him again in Fantastic Four towards the end of Fantastic Four. And then start rolling it out and like, is Kang going to be the big bad for this? For this saga, for this phase, or is it going to be Doom? And then basically, so then once we get to like phase 5, you start putting pieces together and maybe even making it to where it's like, who is it going to be? Is it going to be Doom? Is it going to be Kang? Is it going to be Doom? Is it going to be Kang? And then towards the end of this thing, when we lead into Secret Wars, we find out that Doom is using Kang in order to take his power to become powerful enough to take the Beyonders' power in order to recreate the world into Battle World like we see in fucking Secret Wars, bro. Come on now.
Bro, like,
this is what they should be doing. This is what they should have done.
Agreed. Literally, you literally can follow a comic book accurately, like, and they can do it. I think they like, honestly, I think phase 1, phase 2, I think they, like you said, quality, very very much quality, great. 3, I think 3 was great. I don't know how everybody else felt about 3.
The majority of 3 was really good.
Yeah. But what we're putting out, I think, like, we would have gave them some really good bangers, like great ideas. Oh wait, come on, Marvel, we gotta do better.
Yeah, literally. I mean, like this was. Now, obviously, I fancy myself a writer, but I'm not a professional writer.
Yeah,
but I have been a fan of this media for a very long time, both the movies and the comic books. Like, since I was a kid, I was indoctrinated. You know what I'm saying? Like, we watched this stuff on our Saturday morning cartoons, read the books, and then when the movies came out, we went to the movies to go see them all.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I feel like, you know, like, obviously there's room for change and room for improvement and like all this other kind of stuff within the list that I made or within the things that I made. But overall, I feel like what Marvel, I mean, like, matter of fact, what's his name? The CEO of Disney, Bob Iger, came back and, like, in an interview was even saying, like, yeah, we pulled away from, you know, quality over quantity. You know, we started giving more quantity over quality, and on top of that, we started trying to put. They're putting too much messaging into the movies. We're putting too many messages into the movies. Like, literally, honestly, that, I mean, like, T had a point. Like, they were pandering a little too much to, you know, one group or another, trying to say, like, you know, whatever message it is that they're trying to send. Like, at the end of the day, these movies are supposed to be made for entertainment, and, like, you're not supposed to be pushing a message. Good stories will put the entertainment up front, and then underlying everything, there might be a message that you can pull. It's not pushing the message up front in your face and then being like, "Oh, this doesn't matter behind here." You know what I'm saying? Like, no.
And you're seeing how that's going. You're trying to push a message instead of trying to storytell. That's what comic books is for. Comic books is for storytelling.
Right.
It's fantasy.
That's exactly what comic book movies have always supposed to be. It's about telling a story, entertaining while telling a story.
Mm-hmm. And they're like, everybody will get their own message from that movie or comic book or story. Everybody get their own message, and everybody shouldn't have the same message. No, everybody should get their own message from reading that story.
Right. It should be interpreted any amount of ways, because, you know, somebody gets something different from everything. Like, that was the thing with Star Wars for a long time. It's like, people interpret things in Star Wars the way that they see it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like I want to say that like Mark Hamill has a famous interview where he's talking to somebody and he's like that they've had fans come up and ask him, "Hey, is Luke Skywalker gay?" And he's just like, "I don't know. It's whatever it is that you interpret it as. If that's how you see it, if that's the person that you see when you see Luke Skywalker, then that's the person who he is for you. But that doesn't mean like that's who he has to be for everybody."
Yep.
Like I might look at Black Panther and be like I see somebody who's regal and like powerful and this and that and blah blah blah. That's what I'm supposed to see, or what it is that I see and stuff like that. You know, there's plenty of stuff that's on the surface that give people like, hey, this is who this character is, but then at the end of the day, you can interpret them however you want because that's who they are to you.
Mm-hmm.
But
I mean, I see your brother beating some. That's one of the smartest out there. He was an Illuminati member, where he's supposed to be. Where he's with the top, like the greats, and he's ruler of the motherland. That's what I see.
right. No, I get it, man. I mean, that's who that character is, and then that's who he is for you. That's who he is for a lot of people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So like that's at the end of the day, we're all supposed to pull something different from these stories depending on how we interpret it. And that's what art is. You know,
Exactly.
you interpret it how you see it.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if the artist put on a canvas, police are pigs, blah blah blah, like that, like literally spelled it out for me, what art is this? This is not art. This is not art to me at this point. At that point, it's just, hey, you're telling me what you feel. Directly how you feel. Not like, hey, in this picture, what is it that you see and what feeling does it evoke for you? What sort of things do you feel like the artist was feeling when they were painting or drawing or, you know, creating the sculpture or whatever it may be?
Mm-hmm.
You know, what make you feel when you see it? Not,
Yeah.
Oh,
What
X,
do you
Y,
think
and Z.
this is? Yeah, like what do you think this is? Like, how do you feel about it? No, I'm like, bro, you already painted the picture of me. I see what you told me you want me to see.
Right. I see what you wanted to tell me. Not
exactly. Not what I'm supposed to get out of it.
Right. No, 100%. Like, so in that aspect, like, yes, Bob Iger has a point, but that wasn't his mandate going forward. I mean, before he, you know, gave up the reins as CEO a few years back, he's, you know, on record as saying like, you know, we want to give people platforms to give their, you know, put their messages in our media type of shit. And it's just like, why not just give people platforms to make really good art and have people get from it what they will.
Mm-hmm.
They want to feel. Entertain, tell stories first, and then everything else comes after that.
Agree.
But yeah, man. I mean, did you have anything else that you wanted to touch on in terms of what we talked about in order to like what our fix for the MCU Phase 4 would be? Is there anything that you want to add about Phase 5 or anything at all before we get out of here for the night?
I'm trying to think. Like, what else would I add? Honestly, you know what I would add? I mean, it's already coming too. No. I wouldn't add anything else on that right now because the characters I was thinking about adding, it wouldn't make sense yet. So I was like, of course we're gonna get Daredevil, right? And I was starting to think, like, why not bring everybody else back too? Like, I know we heard that we're possibly gonna be getting Iron Fist. Where's Luke Cage? Bring Luke Cage back too. I think Luke Cage had better numbers than Iron Fist. Bring back Jessica Jones. So like, I think you will benefit more with the Defenders here in the MCU than you did on Netflix now. That's my opinion.
Yeah. To that
Also be some
point,
shorts.
to your point, then, to kind of add something to Moon Knight, then, so it being a special presentation, like it's something that's small, short, that's like short, sweet, to the point.
Mm-hmm.
Why not either towards the end of it, maybe, and be especially because I wanted to keep it kind of grounded. Why not introduce or reintroduce some of those characters?
Yep.
Through Moon Knight, you know what I'm saying? Like, hey, here's Charlie Cox as Daredevil. Here's a little tease of him, or Michael Coulter as Luke Cage, or a new Luke Cage if they were going to give us that, or a new Iron Fist, who I really hope that they give us a new Iron Fist, not Finn Jones.
Or even throw Blade in with like you said before. Throw Blade in there with Moon Knight. Or Mansur Ali.
Mahershala Ali.
That's what I meant. Like they could have did so much better with that.
Yeah, even if he's just, like, literally the freaking the little cameo that he had at the end of, it wasn't even a cameo. The voice cameo that we got at the end of Eternals, put that in freaking Moon Knight.
Yeah.
But with a different character instead of Black Knight. You know what I'm saying? Or introduce us to Black Knight in Moon Knight. Start giving us the Marvel Knights.
Please.
Marvel Knights was a sick imprint, dude, back in the day. All those street level freaking dark characters. You get Moon Knight, Blade, freaking Luke Cage, Daredevil, and Iron Fist. Punisher. Come on now. Black Knight.
And bring back, if you can do the Punisher, please bring back oh my god, yes.
I want to say that he's supposed. Maybe that's just something or a rumor that I heard, but I thought he was for sure back as Punisher. They just haven't done anything about it yet.
I didn't hear anything. I got to look it up.
Maybe that's just something I'm imagining, or maybe it's just something I really wish would happen. Who knows? But
same. But yeah, after that, that's all I have for right now. And I know I got more, but I can't think right now because I got to use the bathroom.
Well, on that note, then maybe we'll go ahead and get out of here then. So, Happy New Year again, guys! Thank you for joining us. If you joined us live, if you're watching us on the replay, thanks for watching. Give us your thoughts on Phase 4, or even what you think of the MCU going forward or post Endgame. Down in the comments, leave a like, subscribe to our YouTube, join us on any of our social media, which you can now see down there. But yeah, until next time, thanks for joining us. I've been Master D Maito.
Bunkai Merc.
Class dismissed.
Black Panda, baby. All right.